In Washington, D.C., a unique congressional briefing was hosted by Hindu Action and the Namaste Shalom Multi-Faith Alliance to address the escalating concerns of anti-Semitism, Hinduphobia, and anti-Hindu bigotry in both the United States and Canada. The event saw the presence of members of Congress and their representative staff who lent their voices to this crucial dialogue. Among the distinguished speakers was Congressman Shri Thanedar, who vocally condemned the terrorist organization Hamas, emphasizing the urgent need for its elimination. He also underscored the necessity of an immigration system devoid of discrimination, one that embraces talented individuals, regardless of their place of birth.
So there's a lot that I'm here in Congress to do, but while I'm here, I also saw the attacks on Hinduism. I saw the Hinduphobia, I saw the hate, and one of the first things that I asked is that what has Congress done to protect the religious freedom of many of these communities? And I was told there is none, there is no. So one of the first things I did as a new congressperson, against the advice of many of the more senior Congress members, that I formed the first Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, and Sikh caucus in the United States Congress. And I have bipartisan support. I have 26 members of Congress who have become members of my caucus just in 4 or 5 months that we are in. And we're going to fight. We're going to fight for religious freedom. We are not going to tolerate any kind of attacks on Hinduism or Sikhism. Every day we see in paper somewhere, the phobia, the hate, the bigotry. And we need to stand not only in each of our communities, but at the highest level in the United States Congress. And that's what I'm doing in the US Congress, fighting to ensure that we fight this phobia, this hate. The high-tech businesses keep telling me that they need skilled workforce. People in their H-1B visas and green card, there's a huge backlog of green cards. It's becoming very stressful for professionals that we need. We need these professionals. Our businesses need those. American businesses need those to create more American jobs. And yet, we have such a hardship for these engineers, these skilled people, to be able to stay in this country, be able to contribute to our economy. And so I'm working on one of my bills to anybody with an advanced degree, like a PhD, should be allowed to not have to go through the country quotas, not have to go through the green card process, but they should be able to get their green card much faster. Certainly, loss of civilian life, whether it is Israeli civilian life or Palestinian civilian life, should not happen. That's something that's never desirable and never welcomed. And I was one of the first members of Congress to protest when Hamas, which is clearly a terrorist organization, that came in and attacked Israel. So, Hamas is not a militant organization. Hamas is not a resistance movement. They are just barbaric terrorists. There's no other way to describe them. And this is a time where we just can't just push them. And because they will regroup and come back and do these atrocities once again. That's what they will do. So, we need at this stage to eliminate them, eliminate Hamas from the face of this earth. We need to dismantle their military operations. We need to free the Palestinian people, the 2 million Palestinian people that lives in Gaza. They need to be freed from these terrorist control of Gaza. So that is really what I feel. Now, there is a lot of talk about ceasefire, but I feel that is premature. These Hamas terrorists have used the civilians, misused the civilians as a shield for them. And unfortunately, that's causing tremendous loss, which is so regrettable. Tremendous loss of lives of innocent people. But these innocent people, they need to have their future, they need to have their life, they need to have their human rights, and they need to be freed from the oppression of Hamas and basically exploitation Hamas is doing of these innocent civilians in Gaza.
Deputy Ambassador of Israel to the United States, Elif Benjamin, extended gratitude by retweeting Congressman Thaneda's speech, expressing appreciation for unwavering support for Israel. A significant highlight was the collective declaration made at the event, underscoring the vital importance of support from all members of Congress, regardless of their political affiliations. Rajshri Keshav from the Meitei community also took the stage, addressing concerns about the rise of Asian hate, with a specific focus on incidents of Indian hate and Hinduphobia in the United States and Canada. She further emphasized the significance of understanding conflicts, such as the one in Manipur, India, beyond religious lines, and the paramount need for peace and unity.
Clashes broke out on May 3, 2023. The conflict between two ethnic communities, the Meiteis and the Kukis, has continued for nearly 6 months. The senseless violence has cast a dark shadow over our beautiful state and taken countless lives of innocent civilians. Over 180 lives have been lost, more than 60,000 people have been displaced, and around 350 relief camps have been set up. It is crucial that we approach this situation with urgency, wisdom, and a commitment to peace and unity. In a classic example of Hinduphobia, the ethnic conflict between the Meitei and the Kukis has been projected as a religious one. Efforts have been made to portray this communal conflict in reductionist terms, projected to the world as a Hindu majority prosecuting the Christian minorities. This oversimplification not only ignores the complex social fabric of Manipur, but also heightens tensions. The majority-minority debate should be examined in terms of the intersectionality of time, space, and context. For example, Christians are a minority in India, but they are a majority in the northeastern region of India. In Manipur, as per the 2011 India census, Hindus comprise 41.39% of the population, while Christians constitute 41.29%. Difference in population is only 0.10%. This is alarming when one considers the fact that the population of Hindus in Manipur, as per the 2001 census, was 62%. When the 2024 census comes out, Hindu could be at 30% or even less. Furthermore, within the Hindu community of Manipur, there are other ethnicities including Punjabis, Biharis, Tamilians, Nepalis, and more. Similarly, the Christian community is comprised of Nagas, Kukis, and also Meiteis. This diversity is not a source of division, but a testament to the harmonious coexistence that has characterized Manipur for generations. In recent time, there has been an alarming surge in attempt to exploit the Manipur conflict as a platform for propagating Hindu hate. This disturbing trend has found traction among certain factions within the Kuki Baptist community in the United States, who have strategically exploited religious sentiments to further their divisive agenda. What is even more concerning is the convergence of some radical Islamist groups in the United States who have appropriated and aligned themselves with this cause. They perceive this situation as a prime opportunity to tarnish the image of Hindus on a global scale. These groups have gone to great lengths to actively suppress the voice of the Meitei community, stifling the attempts to bring forth a balanced perspective. This suppression has taken various forms, including concerted efforts to form alliances, exclude our narratives, and conduct campaigns against Hindus. Attempts have been made to silence our voices on various global platforms. For instance, representatives of the Meitei community were invited to the Congressional briefing on violence in Manipur and Haryana on September 30 at the 2044 Raven House office building in Washington, D.C. However, 2 days before the event, we were disinvited with an excuse that I quote, "Due to a mix-up with room reservations, our room has been changed and we can no longer accept more speakers." This response came from Mr. Alexander Gonzalez Hallgren of the Indian American Muslim Council, who co-sponsored the Congressional briefing. In an effort to simplify the ongoing crisis between two tribal communities merely as a religious clash and to malign the Hindu image, the real cause of the conflict has been completely ignored. Beneath the surface is a complex web of internecine conflict marked by violence, mistrust, and social political tensions, and a deadly trifecta of militancy, narcotics, and illegal infiltration, which poses significant threats to India's national security. The Honorable Home Minister of India, Shri Amit Shah, conveyed to the Indian Parliament that political instability in Myanmar had prompted thousands of refugees to flee into Manipur across a porous border. The Meitei diaspora in the United States had devoted extensive effort to challenge the misrepresentation and disinformation propaganda wherein our community has been demonized because majority of us happens to be Hindus. We hope that Hinduphobia ends. We hope that the senseless violence in Manipur ends and look forward to a solution. It is our sincere aspiration that any existing biases or apprehension towards Hindus are mitigated and that a constructive resolution is achieved. This would pave the way for the commencement of a process centered on healing, rejuvenation, and reconstruction in Manipur.
Additionally, Sundar Iyer shared his experiences, shedding light on the escalating issues of Hinduphobia in the United States. His insights provided valuable perspectives on the growing concern.
So, quick background. I hired an employee who was actually a classmate of mine. And a year later, in the company that I was doing, which was funded by Cisco, he wasn't performing, and a couple years later, with a bunch of complaints, he goes to what is known as the California Civil Rights Department, who later in 2020 filed a lawsuit saying that I discriminated against this gentleman, whom we'll call John Doe, on the basis of his caste. Now, when we talked to the Civil Rights Department, we said, why are you suing us? They said, well, John Doe is a Dalit, the lowest caste in India. We said, well, he's never applied for the job that you claim discrimination for. They couldn't care less. We even said that the person to whom all of these positions were granted, essentially every leadership position in my group, was also someone who identifies as a Dalit, the same lowest caste as the plaintiff on behalf of whom they're suing for. Now, I won't bore you with the details, but what's relevant is what the Civil Rights Department did. How do you create a case of discrimination, especially based on caste? Well, you first pick up one of your favorite punching bags, also known as Hinduism, and you first ascribe caste to Hinduism, which is what the California Civil Rights Department did. They went then on an essential tirade of violating the First Amendment by defining caste, comparing caste, and then of course, assigning me a caste. Now what's important here is I was interviewed by the Civil Rights Department, and I have been irreligious all of my life. There's 20 years of public data on my irreligion. They know it, they interviewed me, they couldn't care less. They went ahead, called me a Hindu, Brahmin, and then this sort of gave them the basis to create a caste discrimination case. Now, there's a lot more details about what the Civil Rights Department did in terms of essentially fabricating data. They called my group entirely Indian. Well, they have copious employment records of people of a diverse group. They even sued us for salary discrimination, even though John Doe was paid literally millions of dollars, millions more than me, even though I was the CEO of the company. Now, why is all of this relevant? It's relevant because the parallel between a civil case and criminal behavior, or pretty much anything bad we see on the planet, all comes down to one thing, and that's the truth. When the truth is beaten up, when there is disinformation, you can pretty much create any movement, whether what you see from students rising up against Israel in the United States, or Hinduphobia, or any other form of phobia. It's pretty easy to take a set of people who are mildly or mostly rational, feed them bad facts, and over a period of time, you can seek their emotions out and build a pretty solid story, if you will. So where does this leave us? So in my own case, the state of California worked with an organization called Equality Labs, which is essentially anti-Hindu, anti-Semitic, by their own words and actions. Here is an organization that pretty much blames the Brahmins for everything in India. They've called Israel a rabbinical patriarchy. The Jews killed Jesus. is used in the same way as the Brahmins tried to kill Buddha. There's so many parallels to essentially malicious claims being made to demonize a certain set of people. So long story short, I'm going to keep this really brief, is my journey was 20 years of tech entrepreneurship. It was a beautiful cocoon. You work with really brilliant people, you do great stuff. But today I'm on a new journey. Going through this experience allows me to hopefully connect with a lot more people so that we can essentially do the only thing that matters, which is make sure that the truth wins and make sure that good people.
Representative George Santos expressed commendation for the solidarity displayed by Indian Hindu and Jewish communities, highlighting the significance of standing together during these trying times, particularly in the ongoing fight against terror. A highlight of the event was journalist and author Asra Nomani, who shared a personal and poignant experience of being the last person to speak with Danny Pearl, a journalist who faced a brutal murder at the hands of Al-Qaeda terrorists in Pakistan. She also vocally condemned Linda Sarsour's refusal to label Hamas as a terrorist group, especially in light of their recent actions. Hindu Action extended its gratitude to Representative Max Miller for hosting this groundbreaking event, marking a historic gathering of diverse religious communities uniting in support of Israel and against the growing tide of bigotry. This event serves as a powerful testament to the global call for unity against hate and bigotry.